All right, welcome back. There have been high-profile announcements made both by the US President Donald Trump and the Indian Prime Minister Modi with regards to arriving upon that much-awaited bilateral trade agreement between India and the United States. While it will come with its set of benefits, it is also going to have its own set of geopolitical implications, which we are now going to take forward with our guests. Ambassador Achal Malhotra continues to stay with me, as is Dr. Satoru Nagao. Dr. Nagao, let me quickly bring you in on the aspect of the big challenge of security needs versus strategic autonomy. Remember, this deal had to happen at some point because India and the United States need each other when it comes to strategic cooperation, particularly in the Indo-Pacific. We cannot afford China to have that upper hand. But at the same time, as we were just highlighting prior to the break, the question of India's strategic economy has already started being raked up, particularly by the opposition. We speak at a time India's parliament session is also on. How does India manage this balancing act? Dr. Nagao.
Yeah, in this case, we need to remember which country could be the threat and which country can help, can be the beneficial for India. So because in this case, India faced China and Pakistan both as a threat. So so to deal with these two countries, which country can be beneficial for India? In this case, for a long time, the Russia takes charge because of the other side of the China. But now the Russia rely on China, and Russia's influence is declining because they cannot prepare enough weapon to export to India, or they cannot prepare any other product to support India. So under such kind of situation, even if the India-US relation is under negotiation and stable term, unstable term.
All right.
Still, India need to find a good partner as a beneficial partner for India. In this case, the US or EU or Japan or other Quad members or these countries is the candidate to be the beneficial for India. So the strategic autonomy is very important for India. India can decide everything about India themselves. But at the same time, who could be the good partner for India? In this case, India-US relation or India as a Western country relation.
I think it comes with the challenge of balancing when it comes to multipolarity. India has always taken pride in its ability to sort of do that tightrope walk when it comes to, say, navigating these geopolitically turbulent times. We're going to request you, Dr. Nagao and Ambassador Malhotra, continue staying with me. We're getting in some more breaking inputs as we dive deeper. Remember, the challenges are also now coming to the fore. What are going to be the challenges? India has committed to stop buying Russian oil. How quickly will India be able to make that transition is the key question. Will Venezuela be able to meet India's needs? How swiftly? As shared by government sources to CNN News18, Venezuelan oil requires more complex refining processes to produce high-quality fuels, which can increase costs for India. In contrast, so far, Russian oil has been easier to refine due to its low sulfur content. Let me take that forward with Ambassador. Ambassador, apart from the increase in cost, the moot point is, will Venezuela be able to meet India's needs? And even if you were to look at Venezuela and the United States combined, given that you're looking at a dilapidated industry over there, how soon will US be able to resurrect that?
Well, this is not, going to happen today, tomorrow, or day after tomorrow. The fact of the matter is, we had in the past also purchased oil from Venezuela. We do have capacities to refine them. I think probably, if I'm not wrong, India is one of the very few countries
but
which
it
can
comes
handle.
With a higher cost. It comes
But
with a higher cost.
Obviously, see, our policy on procurement of energy resources has always been that we are going to diversify our, procurement suppliers, and we will go in for predictable and affordable without having to necessarily link it with any political angle. And that's why, this whole problem arose when we were getting an opportunity to buy discounted oil from Russia. We stood by it, and it all led to that additional punitive tariffs from the United States of America, and the relationship also, there were some cracks. So we have to now see, obviously, the from India's point of view, our energy needs are huge. If we look at our
Right.
2047 agenda of becoming a developing country,
Exactly.
and so we will welcome, and we will. It's basically, at the end of the day, commercial viability is very important. So we'll go for commercial viability. It's various other technical aspects which you mentioned. Crude oil being a very crude. I mean, it's a very kind of difficult to refine. So all those factors will be taken into account.
Right.
But your earlier question is more important, whether we stick to strategic autonomy or we go for strategic pragmatism. You
True.
know, the
So,
choice is now between autonomy and pragmatism.
and on the note of strategic pragmatism,
Yeah.
Dr. Nagao, if I could quickly bring you in on how we are looking towards countering China. Remember, we've just had our budget announcement on Sunday, which is in fact doing away with import taxes on capital equipment. And capital equipment is also going to be playing a very pivotal role when it comes to our needs for critical minerals, creating lithium batteries. As we speak, India's External Affairs Minister Dr. Jaishankar is very much in Washington. He's attending a ministerial meet on critical minerals itself, which is being presided over by the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio. And there's this renewed focus on coming up with your own critical minerals corridor. We all know that this is also to counter China, given it's been using it like a bargaining chip. How can India and the United States join hands when it comes to that, securing our supply chains, building up greater resilience, critical minerals playing a very important role there as well?
Of course, in this case, we need to remember the two aspects. One is maintaining military balance. In this case, how to make China's front line the multiple is very important, not against India, but also the other side, Japan, the Southeast Asia, the other side. In this case, collaboration between India and the US is the key. And secondly, of course, you mentioned the supply chain. The supply chain to produce weapons, other high-tech industry-related products. So that's why, in this case, how to develop the mines is matter. For a long time, the mine in China is only developed mine. Because they can ignore the environment issue and very cheap cost, they can prepare something like that as background. But now we need to develop many mines in the multiple countries, especially in the Quad cooperation, focusing on this issue. So that's why the supply chain of the critical minerals is very important strategic agenda for the India, US, and the India, US side countries collaboration.
Okay. Ambassador Malhotra, every time we speak to experts from the United States with regards to why the Trump administration has sort of almost given up on Quad in terms of an alliance, we are always told that for this Trump administration, the way to strategic cooperation is through economic cooperation, which is why India earlier has in fact given a nod to joining the Pax Silica as well. Do you think now there's going to be renewed hope for the Quad, and perhaps we can finally expect India to be playing host to the Quad summit that it was supposed to happen in the national capital this year?
If we are to believe the U.S. Ambassador Sergei Gore, I heard him clearly saying that Quad had never disappeared. Quad has not gone anywhere. So Quad is very much there, and the President Trump continues to attach importance. My only it will, in any case, India has never subscribed to Quad being a military setup.
Yes, yes.
We have always said that we are together to ensure an inclusive Indo-Pacific region where rule of law is followed, and those kind of statements have come from us, and we have looked at it quite anything but a military kind of an arrangement. So, all the more we are on the same page if President Trump claims that he wants to do it through economic. But also, let's not forget that Trump's equation with shipping with China, America, is also undergone a subtle change. He's no more as vocal. I haven't heard any strong statements coming from President Trump of late uh, targeting China, and there has been a truce as far as their trade is also concerned. Although the
Right.
tariffs are still very high. But it climbed down to 100 to 200 to 500%. That kind of talk was
But he's
going on.
also very mindful of the fact that China still happens to be a threat when it comes to, say, securing supply chains, and India can still remain that strong,
Definitely.
steadfast ally that it always has been, especially in the decades gone by.
Yes, I think in if this trade deal is sorted out, the next on the agenda would be the Quad Summit, and
Glad you say that. Glad you say
which
that.
is
I'm running short of time,
yeah.
but can't thank you enough, and Dr. Nagao also for joining in on this discussion. It was a pleasure having you both gentlemen on this discussion, because remember, much is awaited in terms of a formal announcement. The Parliament session is very much on. Perhaps we can expect a formal word coming in from the Union Commerce Minister, even the Petroleum Minister as well. Let's see what are those nitty-gritties that still are waiting to be hammered out. The big high-profile announcement certainly has been made, which is that India's tariff has been brought down to 18%, which is the final figure. How India and US now move forward with that trade deal, how they finalize it, the days ahead are going to be extremely critical. Many thanks to you all for joining in on this broadcast. With that, we're slipping into a quick break. Stay tuned to CNN News 18 as we bring you the latest.